I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big. I can feel it. I'm just talking.
It's been a couple days since 50 Cent first started trolling Big Meech, and the situation has already spiraled into something way bigger than a few petty posts online. A lot has gone on in a short period, and even though I made a full video breaking down every piece of history behind this tension, I'll give a quick speedrun recap for the people who don't feel like clicking another link. For anyone new to this saga, Big Meech, back when he was young, was one of the central figures behind the Black Mafia family, also known simply as BMF, a Detroit-rooted organization that became known for drug trafficking, money laundering, and a level of influence across multiple states that most street crews could only dream of matching. BMF wasn't some small-time fringe operation. They were considered one of the most impactful crime families in modern American history, and at their peak, they controlled an empire that stretched from Detroit to Atlanta and beyond, supported by a massive network of trusted members and high-level connections.
He was convicted of running a huge criminal enterprise stretching from Atlanta to Detroit and several other states. The story of Big Meech, who headed up the Black Mafia family, is also the source of a popular TV show that has been filmed right here in Atlanta. And this week, after serving nearly 20 years in prison for racketeering, drug dealing, and running a criminal enterprise, he is out of prison. 11 Alive's Erica Murphy has more on his release and his sordid past.
Demetrius Flannery and his brother, Terry, ran one of the country's largest drug operations during the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
As their empire grew, BMF decided to step into the hip-hop industry in the early 2000s under the name BMF Entertainment, using the label as a way to wash money while building a legitimate front. Even though the label didn't produce many major stars, aside from Blue Da Vinci, who never fully blew up and later ended up serving time,
the pair had hundreds of employees, generated hundreds of millions of dollars, and even had a successful record label and magazine. But in 2006, the brothers were indicted in a federal RICO case originating out of Georgia.
BMF was the first group that was accused of being both a criminal organization and a record label.
Attorney Josh Schiffer says Demetrius, also known as Big Meech, is highly regarded because he never took a deal or snitched on his co-conspirators.
And he went down. And when he went down, he and his brother were sentenced to 30 years in prison.
In 2020, Terry Flannery was released, and just this week, Big Meech was released from prison. He will serve the remainder of his sentence at a halfway house in Miami. Reporting from Atlanta, Erica Murphy, 11 Alive News.
It became a symbol of BMF's crossover into mainstream culture. Blue Da Vinci's involvement is important here because he plays a major role in the storyline that's unfolding now. Fast forward, and 50 Cent, who has reinvented himself as one of the most successful producers of crime-based television, picked up the BMF story and turned it into a full series.
Nigga took a picture with Rick Ross. You like a hoe, nigga. Put your back against the wall and just slide down. Biggest boss, I've been separating myself from these broke because they don't understand the rules to the streets. You understand? Don't know nigga owe you nothing, homie. Don't owe you nothing. Y'all get money together. Y'all niggas get money. Keep moving. All that extra shit. You niggas don't even have a relationship with your own brothers, your own mothers and fathers. How the fuck you gonna act like you real close with me? Stop all that fake capping shit. That's why you niggas ain't got no money. You need a loan, come see the boss. When it's on, come see the boss. If it's hating, if I ain't said nothing to you, I may want to do something to you, nigga.
The show is based on the history of the Black Mafia family, and it brought their story back into the spotlight for a new generation that only knew the legends, not the details. Instead of choosing a seasoned actor, 50 handpicked Big Meech's own son, Lil Meech, to play his father despite having no acting experience. It made the story feel more authentic, more emotional, and it helped elevate Lil Meech's career in a way he never would have achieved otherwise. Not long ago, Big Meech himself was released from prison after serving roughly 20 years on federal charges for operating a large criminal enterprise. News coverage celebrated the release of a man who, for many in the hip-hop world, had become a symbol of loyalty because he famously didn't cooperate or implicate anyone else when the government came down on BMF. Reporters reminded viewers that Meech and his brother Terry had once run one of the country's largest operations of its kind, employing hundreds and generating hundreds of millions.
Tammy Cowins is Big Meech's personal assistant slash business partner slash whatever you want to call. Basically, she became the owner of Meech's, what Meech has as BMF Entertainment, his company from prison. His company, she became the owner of it in 2008, and in 2009, she became a government informant. In 2010, she did a case that was pertaining to a guy that Meech met in prison and one of Meech's homeboys of 26 years.
When the brothers were hit with a RICO indictment in 2006, they were sentenced to decades behind bars. But Meech's reputation as someone who stood tall and didn't speak against his people made him a near mythical figure in certain circles.
What they don't understand is that he never received the time cut because what came out was that she had an illicit sexual relationship with Special Agent Keith.
Given all of this, you would expect that once Big Meech came home, he'd show nothing but appreciation toward 50 Cent because 50 helped his son, helped his legacy, and made sure the BMF name stayed alive through the show. You'd think Meech would be shaking hands, thanking him for the exposure, maybe even preparing to appear in a future season. Instead,
you told Tammy to tell.
That's before this time, always. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family.
Y'all gonna be disappointed when Lil Baby don't show up? When Skilla don't show up, when Bizzo don't show up? And all these motherfuckers don't show up?
I wasn't gonna address this.
Man, this nigga reading drops, man. Look at you reading this.
But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before the time, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family. Come out to the Amarada Arena.
He can't even go. You want house arrest, he can't even go.
Meech surprised everyone by popping out with Rick Ross. And that right there set off an entire domino effect because in 50 Cent's world, if he sees you standing next to someone he considers an opponent, then you automatically become one too. There is no neutrality with him. Anyone in the circle of someone he's not rocking with immediately becomes an extension of that conflict, and that's exactly what happened. Rick Ross and Big Meech appeared together promoting a concert, pushing February 13th as a major event featuring artists like Lil Baby, Rick Ross, 21 Savage, Kodak Black, 42 Doug, and others. Essentially a celebration of Meech returning home. Meanwhile, 50 Cent.
The time I met 50, it was just genuine. And I sat by him and we actually got to watch people audition for a couple hours. And the next day he called me, 8 o'clock in the morning, woke me up.
Actually, I was supporting the idea. And when their dad's indictment is the largest indictment that happened since then. The significance.
For death for me, whole team, my big brother, he's my mentor at the same time. He really guided me and helped me throughout the whole way before anybody else believed in me, before my dad even knew I could do it. 50 believed, he believed in me. And I feel like that meant the most to me because at the end of the day, no matter how much doubt I had, I always knew in the back of my mind that 50 got my back, and I just wanted to make him, my dad, proud the most,
Who is known for being messy in the most strategic ways, posted and then deleted a caption saying, "I think I'm Big Meech," followed by a line about Meech's biggest mistake being his fallout with Tammy Cowins. That line sent shockwaves through the comments because Tammy is not just some random name. She is deeply tied to the BMF story in ways people outside the paperwork never expected. Tammy Cowins, depending on who you ask, was either a loyal business partner or someone who switched sides when it mattered most. She co-produced the BMF show with 50, she served as Meech's personal assistant and business partner, and she also became the owner of BMF Entertainment while Meech was behind bars. Then more information came out, information that painted a completely different picture.
It's called Tammy Cowins. She's privileged to what's called the affidavits in support of the wiretaps.
Okay.
It's like 3 affidavits. In those affidavits, it tells Meech's full role. Now, I wasn't allowed to have them because they played this, I'm this kingpin and I'm this killer, and they life in jeopardy.
Right.
In danger.
Right.
That's why they was able to close the courtroom. We'd have been out at Meech. But they played a cold game. I give it to her. They was playing chess and we was playing checkers.
Okay.
She used the threat of her life and that I was gonna have some hitmen in the federal courtroom.
Tammy became a government informant in 2009. She was involved in a 2010 case connected to someone Meech knew in prison and one of Meech's associates. And here's where things escalate. Documents and interviews suggest that Tammy cooperated with authorities in a way that was intended to help Meech receive a time reduction. But the plan reportedly fell apart once it came out that she had been involved in an inappropriate relationship with a federal agent, Keith Cromer. That revelation tainted the case. And instead of Meech benefiting, it created a mess that left everyone pointing fingers about who did what and why, according to critics.
The killer, and they closed the courtroom to the media. My shit's standing room only. I'm that dude in that city, homie.
Right.
I'm that dude in that city.
Right.
So that's why it ain't been came out. But the affidavits in support of the wiretap, she has them.
Okay, so she can get them for sure.
If she got them.
Okay.
She got them. The only person they barred from having the documents was me.
Okay, so you the only one that don't got the information.
Right.
Gotcha.
Everybody else, it's called discovery. Everybody else got the packet.
Okay.
This is the source of the snitching label people throw around regarding Meech.
Are you showing and performing at the Big Meech party? Yeah, I'm performing. I gave Big Meech my word, that I was gonna perform, and I ain't. I give a man my word, that's my word. I don't know what's going on, I can't just pull away from not performing over something, they got going on with him and 50 and all this going on. I just can't, after I gave the man my word, if something was to come out and I feel it's factual, I'll stand on it.
Not because he personally cooperated, but because Tammy's involvement created confusion around whether his team attempted to leverage federal cooperation through her. And when 50 Cent brought Tammy's name into the situation, he wasn't just poking fun, he was hinting at deep fractures behind the scenes. Fractures that could explain why Meech didn't align himself with 50 after coming home. Obviously, Big Meech wasn't about to sit quiet after 50 Cent called him out, so he fired back by calling 50 an internet gangster, even playing his ooh-wee track in the background as if to underline the disrespect. And if you know 50 Cent, you know he's never going to back down when someone labels him anything, especially not someone who's been in his orbit for years. Rick Ross also stepped in because he lives for these moments, and he dropped a fiery response where he essentially clowned Big Meech for siding with 50's rival, telling him straight up that no one owes him anything in the streets. And if he feels pressed, he should come see the boss. Ross went on a whole rant about how people who don't have real relationships with their own families shouldn't be acting loyal with outsiders, and the message was clear. He was siding with Meech and taking shots at 50 while doing it. But 50 flipped the whole situation immediately by leaking text messages from Lil Meech, where Lil Meech explained why his father even linked up with Rick Ross in the first place. In the messages, Lil Meech sounded frustrated and blindsided, telling 50 he heard he unfollowed him and reminding him that he was the one who introduced Skilla Baby to him. He said he'd always been loyal, that the internet drama was throwing him off, and then dropped the biggest line, the part where he admitted Ross only helped his father financially because Big Meech needed money to pay his bills until the next BMF season started. 50 posted the screenshot with a ruthless caption asking, "What next season, little man?" which had the entire internet stunned because it implied the show was done and Big Meech wouldn't be getting that steady income anymore. From that moment, you could tell 50 was in full promotional mode, stirring the pot on purpose because trolling is his version of marketing. 50 kept applying pressure, posting memes targeting both Big Meech and Lil Meech before deleting them. Then right in the middle of all this chaos, Irv Gotti passed, and 50 posted a picture joking that he was smoking on that Gotti pack, which showed he was locked into demon mode and hitting everyone in range. Even The Game, who has had beef with 50 Cent for nearly 2 decades, stepped in just to comment on how wild the situation was, saying the text from Lil Meech to 50 had him spitting water out. The Game said even though he and 50 are still on opposite sides, the disrespect was too funny not to react to. This moment alone shows just how far the trolling had gone, because even longtime rivals were briefly calling a truce just to laugh at the chaos. Meanwhile, 50 kept doubling down, posting a rap meme and captioning it with, "I think I'm Big Screech Larry Hoover," making it clear he was labeling Meech as someone who folded. Rick Ross jumped back in and claimed he was now working on a BMF movie because the low-budget series didn't do the story justice. He name-dropped major directors like F. Gary Gray and even Tarantino, though everyone knew Ross was just talking for entertainment value because there is no universe where he legally has the rights to produce anything connected to BMF. Still, it added fuel to the back and forth and kept the internet entertained. Big Meech eventually responded again, saying he never folded, never told, and never would. He brought up Tammy being the one with access to certain legal documents and said he was doing everything for his family and loyal supporters. But people immediately noticed that he was reading his statement off a paper in the video, which made the whole thing feel rehearsed and less convincing. 50 Cent reacted right away, pointing out that Big Meech couldn't even attend his own concert because he's under strict halfway house rules, basically implying Meech shouldn't be talking tough when he can't legally leave his supervised location. Then 50 pressed even harder, questioning why Rick Ross didn't contribute financially toward Lil Meech's acting training, even though 50 personally invested in shaping his career. He reminded everyone that he helped the family make over $5 million in clean money and hinted that once Meech got out, he was too focused on portraying himself as a black Pablo Escobar instead of actually stabilizing his people. 50 even resurfaced an old interview where Lil Meech said 50 Cent believed in him before anyone else, including his own father, and explained that 50 guided him when nobody else did. That clip made everything Meech was saying now look shaky because it showed that publicly, the family did acknowledge 50's help long before this drama. The internet reactions blew up too, with people calling 50 too old to be trolling, saying he would die alone and that he shouldn't be moving like this. 50 addressed all of that directly, saying some folks secretly dislike him but he openly doesn't care, adding that he doesn't have the energy to hide how he feels. Then 42 Doug jumped into the mix saying he wanted to see the paperwork if Meech really told. So 50 responded by posting audio where someone explains that Tammy Cowins has affidavits and recorded calls allegedly showing Big Meech cooperating behind the scenes. According to the audio, Tammy was allowed to have access to documents that Meech himself wasn't allowed to receive. Whether this proves anything or not, the fact that the audio exists made the situation even messier. Boozy, who was scheduled to perform at the Legacy concert, said he wasn't backing out because he gave Big Meech his word, though he did say that if something factual came out later, he'd stand on it. Then everything collapsed. The Big Meech Welcome Back Legacy concert was officially canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. Fans instantly suspected 50 Cent had something to do with it, and 50 pretended to play innocent, posting that he had nothing to do with it and wishing everyone a happy Valentine's Day, trolling all over again. So at this point, nobody knows whether 50 took the concert down, whether it was doomed from the start, or whether this whole thing is an elaborate publicity move from all sides. What we do know is that 50 Cent has a long history of coming out on top in public beefs, and once again, the scoreboard is leaning heavily in his favor. The question now is simple. Did Big Meech snitch, or is 50 just using elite-level trolling to promote everything connected to his name? And how far will this beef go now that both sides are locked in? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown wild, make sure you like, subscribe, and tap into the next video because trust me, the next chapter in this saga is even crazier.